Notts County Talk, thank you for joining us again on a Thursday evening. It's the Pavis Perspective, episode 69. It's the Aldershot and Boreham preview. Two massive games. Every game's huge this season, but these, especially after what we're going to talk about, happened on New Year's Day. Absolutely massive. We'll give our thoughts on what happened. If you haven't watched the presser from Luke Williams, very, very interesting things that back up what us fans have been saying. Absolutely huge. As always, we are powered by Better Bytes Computers. Your place to go and get computer repairs or refurbished laptops. Just give them a shout, say our name, and they will sort you out with a discount. George, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. How are you?
Could have been better after New Year's Day, but it's not a loss, and we remain unbeaten. Apart from Dorking, obviously, big unbeaten run though.
Yeah, huge. It is huge, and you know, for me, it is disappointing. I mean, I've had time to reflect, and on the bigger picture, it's like Wrexham. We've sort of gave them breathing space, haven't we? Now it's like they can catch up with us if they win their game in hand and overtake us. It's only 1 point, so it's not massive. It's something that I think we'd claw back. But we don't want to let them have that sort of mental, positive over us. Do you know what I mean? Because it's sort of in their hands now, isn't it? To some degree. There's a lot of football to be played, but I'm just disappointed that we drew to Oldham. With the most respect, I think they're probably one of the worst teams we've seen at Meadow Lane. Not ever, just probably for the last couple of years. They were poor. So to sort of draw to them, both the goals avoidable. I mean, there's a lot of speculation that the penalty wasn't a penalty, and it's not fair because it's happening in both boxes, and they get given the penalty. Slight error from Slocum. It's difficult for him, isn't it, to really defend himself on that one because he's just made that error and he's miles off where he should be. Touch was shocking. Something you could go on about as well, errors that Slocum's made and how many points it's cost us. But he's also gained us a lot of points from his saves. So,
do you know what annoys me about that though?
Yeah,
he's not even trying to play out from the back. I don't know what he's doing. Just hoof it away.
Yeah.
It's not like he's in his own box. He's taking a touch and he's trying to play it out. I don't know what he's tried to do there. Ultimately, it hasn't cost us the points because we went back in the lead. So you could say we would have held on, but I don't personally see it like that. I see the penalty as the thing that's cost us the points. The replays for me aren't good enough. There's a feature on YouTube where you can slow it down to half speed. I slowed it down to half speed, and because of the camera work, it's a little bit slow. I still can't tell if it's a penalty.
Yeah.
But you're completely right. It happens in both boxes. Have you seen the picture going around on Twitter where I think it's Scott? They're literally pulling the shirt over his head. It might be Scott.
No, I haven't. But it doesn't surprise me.
He's got half his shirts off, literally over his head.
Yeah.
But we'll get onto that in a little bit. So, Paul, thank you for joining us. We'll get your question on a little bit. Evening, Ian. Evening, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Evening, Shane, Ellie. Really good to have you with us. Loads to talk about. So, evening, Maggie as well. Charlie. I want to give my thoughts on that game because I don't want to come on and talk about just seem bitter that we've lost points, and I want to talk about the officials, but I'm going to start off with that. And if you watch the channel regularly, you'll know Notts win a game, Gateshead, and we talk about the officials. It's not just when we drop points.
It's true.
4 minutes into that game, ball's in the corner. I think it's Aidan Baldwin goes to clear it away, clears it away. 2 seconds later, their player comes in, smashes him. I thought, okay, ref, we've seen what's gone off in the last few games. Gateshead ended up with a Macca injury. I thought, ref, get a yellow card out, set the precedent, because it's a yellow card tackle in any other minute of the game. Doesn't give one. I thought, okay, fair enough. A few more tackles fly in, doesn't give it. And then it was one tackle from Kyle Cameron, which I'll tell you now, he wins the ball. I don't think you'll see it on any of the highlights. He gets a touch on the ball, yellow carded straight away. they carry on. First half, flying in with tackles. And there was a point, a couple of minutes before half time, where they definitely didn't want to concede a goal late on. And they're just leaving tackles in, leaving studs in. And you can see the mentality where they realise we're not getting booked. But the officiating is appalling at this level.
Yeah.
Awful. I think it's 2-1 up. Ruben spins away from 3 players on the edge of the box. He's going to hit the ball. He does a little move where he puts his foot on the ball and drags it back. He's taking 3 players out of the game. Player comes across with the hand, round Ruben's neck, drags him away from the ball. Okay, fair enough. Didn't go for the ball. It's a yellow. Ref just doesn't give a card. I couldn't believe it myself.
I
couldn't believe it.
We've seen it in countless games as well. Like you've said, it's not like we're just doing it because we've dropped points. We're saying it because it's a genuine concern for the player welfare, because our players are getting absolutely targeted, aren't they, every game? It seems like every game something like this happens where there's a rash challenge with intent, and it's not backed up with a card or anything like that. So what sort of precedent are the refs setting? And as a fan, it's infuriating. But can you imagine what it feels like for the player and the staff? The staff that have to make sure that the players are, have the right nutrition, do the right training and things like that. They work hard towards that, or for it to be undone by silly things like that it's just so easily fixed.
Oldham could have walked away from that game with 7 yellows comfortably. I'm glad I'm not the only one that was really annoyed by that. I didn't like the high head throat attack on Rodriguez. It was so, what's the word? It was
callous.
Nah, you know what? The word's gone out of my head because I'm
disgusting,
so infuriated. It was
terrible,
like a petulant foul. Like, he knew Rodriguez had got away from him, and he just put his hands around his neck and pulled him away from the ball. Where's that not a yellow card? Gateshead, the Gateshead ref, was he the one that gave the offside from the corner or the line?
Yeah,
Gateshead. Yeah. He wasn't the ref on New Year's Day wasn't poor in that sense. He wasn't like incompetent like that. He just let way too much go. Yellow card that their striker in the first 4 minutes. You get a game that's nowhere near as difficult to ref as he made it. I mean, David Unsworth pushing our players. If that, their players are just feeding off what the manager's getting up to. Awful tackles. That could have been a red card tackle that was put in there. So yeah, malicious. That was the word I was looking for earlier, Ian. But yeah, it really infuriates me. And have you seen his presser,
Luke's?
Yeah.
I've just watched it about 25 minutes ago.
If you haven't seen it, I didn't know this. After the Boreham game, where Cairo gave away a penalty and we drew, referee's assessor, this must happen after every game, sent their report through and said, apologies, shouldn't have been a penalty, dropped 2 points. And it was also said that happened after the Woking game, which we ended up winning, but they did get a chance late on. That was said that shouldn't have been a penalty, referee's assessor. And also against Southend, where we conceded on TV, where we did the watch along, referee's assessor said foul on Scott in the build up, that shouldn't have been it. So that's 4 points better off we should be with referees' decisions. Now, people will say that aren't Notts fans, that will even up throughout the season. I don't know any instances where we've actually gained any points from anything like that. I can't think of any.
The most frustrating thing for me is, I mean, that Scott one against Southend. Like, you remember things, don't you? Like bad refereeing decisions, but genuinely, and I'm not saying this for any comical value, there's that many you actually forget some of the incidents. That Scott one against Southend really sticks in my mind because it was apparent.
I think I said it was equaliser. It was the second one. It was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah. But either way, it sticks in your mind, doesn't it? Because it was so obvious.
Climbing all over him.
It was, honestly, still mad about it now.
Yeah, there was a point in like Nolan's reign and Harry Kewell's reign where it just got to the point of, like I would be driving home from a game and I'd hear them on Radio Nottingham moaning about the refs, and I'd be like, please be quiet. Like, it was embarrassing. Williams, it's the first time in the last 2 weeks I've heard him say anything about referees, and I'm glad he has, because he's got to put something in their mind. It's a pattern that's emerging late on. Like, if that's a penalty on New Year's Day, then there should have been 3 penalties aside. You can't just decide in the last 15 minutes you're going to give one. You give one or you give none. So there's my opinion. Really disappointed with that. I really wanted to get out there. I didn't really have an opportunity to say after the game my thoughts and on the vlog, but awful. And if we're not going to get protection, we have to be a bit clever as well. We do. We need people going to referees, and I know Luke Williams doesn't like that, but we need someone in some cases to go and have a flea in the words here. So, yeah, those 4 points could be massive, like Ian says. Massive. 4 points better off now. Look where it would be. But there you go. Referees, assessors. What good is that at the end of a game? Saying I'm sorry. Shouldn't have been an equaliser when you should have had an extra couple of points. Rubbish. Rubbish. It's shocking. Shocking. And Jordan said, yeah, we just seem to get no protection. No protection. Let's go up to this. Right at the start, Paul asks, what are your thoughts on Bostock and Palmer starting together?
I quite like. I'm quite fond of that idea, to be honest. I think Bostock being the sort of deeper lying midfielder than Palmer, maybe let Palmer play a little bit further up, because I've said it in previous weeks. I like Palmer playing a bit more advanced. I think he brings more into the game, makes things happen. And he's always there to sort of put a shot on outside of the box, isn't he? So yeah, why not?
I thought it worked pretty well on New Year's Day. I also said at the start of the vlog, if the same Oldham turn up, I think we'll batter them. If a different Oldham turn up, it could be difficult. I don't really think a different Oldham turned up, really. I think the same Oldham turned up and we just didn't really create as much as we should have. But saying that, we don't make a horrendous mistake and the referee doesn't do what he does and we come out with a win. Either way. So
yeah,
I saw some people say a draw was deserved. I don't think it was. I think we were the better side throughout. They had a bit of a chance on the counter-attack. Aidan Baldwin had to do a fantastic last-man tackle, but I thought we were the better side, really. We controlled the game. We just didn't take our chances necessarily. Couple of crosses right at the end from Kyle Cameron that could have been put away and would have been going home 4-2 win. And you just knew that Solihull weren't going to get anything after they got beat 5-0. I think time's running out massively for Neil Ardley there. A month ago, I would have said Stockport were Solihull were very difficult double header. Not really, not now. Yeah. Saying that, we'll probably go and drop points there, but they look gone.
It looks like the stuffing knocked out of them, doesn't it?
Yeah,
since the playoff loss.
Yeah, keep sending questions in. I'll have a look. Another question that's come in, George. Well, it's more of a statement that was posted about 5 minutes ago. Do we need a new goalkeeper?
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say we need a new goalkeeper, but if someone became available that would improve what we already have, then yeah. I wouldn't say we desperately need one.
No.
But, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But I look at things like it was Sunday, wasn't it? New Year's Day. I look at things like Sunday. I look at Dorking away, not the one that bounced in off his back. He played a pass, didn't he? And they lobbed him from halfway, almost.
Yeah.
I look at that. I look at Bromley at home where he comes charging out the goal and misses the ball, and Aidan Baldwin's on the line. Striker should finish it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And there's been another one as well. And throughout the season, that's cost us at least 2 points as well from some of those errors. So regardless of whatever happens this year, we need a new keeper next year, I think.
Yeah, I think he's out of contract anyway at the end of the season. And well, I don't know, he could be offered an extension, who knows? But I mean, I think Notts will be looking for sure.
I think if we didn't go up this year, would still be massively up there with the favourites to go up next year. Would you be comfortable if we were National League again with Brooks in goal?
It's hard to say for me.
Really
hard to say. We've not seen him play. The only people that can really tell us that is sort of the fans from the teams that he's been out on loan at, and maybe a couple of the coaching staff at Notts. I mean, he's obviously like that new age of keeper, isn't he? Where he's good with the ball and he looks like a confident lad as well. So it's always a bit of a gamble, isn't it? And with young keepers, young outfield players, it's obviously still a gamble, but it's not as much as a gamble as a young keeper. So I think keepers are hard done by in that respect. But you have to be really stand out, I think, to break through as a keeper at a young age. So I don't know. Maybe just let him play in some of the cup games and then see what he brings, and see if he can sort of deal with the pressure of playing for Notts.
Because I think he'll play against Maidstone in 9 days' time. I think if it's 9 days.
Yeah.
The growing consensus really throughout the whole of the comment section is Slocum's won us more points than he's probably lost us. Jordan said that. Andrew said that he was man of the match against Wrexham. That one-on-one stop against Palmer was really, really good. But the consensus is he needs someone that's actually going to push him. Like, realistically, is he ever going to get dropped for a league game at the minute? I'd be amazed if he did drop him. He was sort of defended by Luke Williams there in that presser. So I think he does need someone to push him. So I think he's obviously won us more points than we've lost. There's obvious errors when they're that glaring, when it's not just letting one slip under your body, when it's running out of your goal. And it's not just his fault, is it? He's kicked it against. There's 3 players around the ball and we've kicked it against him. But he does need someone to push him. But then it's a waste of like a loan spot, isn't it? And you're not going to sign anyone permanent in that position.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a difficult situation. I think the thing that I always think about is under Birchnell never seemed to really favour him, did he?
No.
I think it's strange. And he's had a bit of a weird time at Notts this last couple of seasons because he's gone from sort of lone players coming in and just instantly taking his spot to being just number 1 again straight away. So it's a strange one for me. It's a strange one. But obviously Williams likes him. But I think we were spoiled a bit, weren't we, with what's his name? Yeah, Patterson from Sunderland. We were really spoiled with him because he's probably the best keeper one of the best that we'll ever see at Notts. Fantastic player. Heart in your mouth moments, but I don't think we conceded through it. So yeah, for me to sort of wrap up that point, like I've already said, if we can bring someone in, maybe that's going to take his place, that can improve on what Slocum is, bring him in by all means.
Do you remember last year when he kept swapping Yaros and Slocum and you never knew who was going to be goalkeeper? Those games Slocum came, he was class. Top four. No, I do like Slocum, and I don't think I would go for anyone to replace him now, not when we're 26 games into the season, because I was fed up last year of having Yaros one week and Slocum the next. It's not how you run your club. And he always shows his trust. Williams does in players. So yeah. I would keep him. Playing out from the back at this level, you're always going to get an error. Playing in the Premier League at this level, like the Premier League level with that player style, you might get 1 error, 2 errors most from a goalkeeper. Here you're going to get 5, 6, 7 because simply they're not as consistent or as good. Same as you'll get less consistent performances from the outfield players. So, but yeah, it must be sickening for him that he had nothing to do all game against Oldham. Nothing. And I don't even think he had a save to make, did he? Maybe 1 or 2. So, interesting. George, we haven't actually touched on what the poll is for the show today.
Good poll this week.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. What is it?
Is the cliche of win your home games, draw your away games enough to get promoted this season? Simple yes or no.
It is in every other league.
For sure.
This might be a bit different. Win your home, what you're getting there, looking at 70 odd points, draw your away. Don't know if it is enough. Couldn't really say. Have you voted?
I have voted.
I've put my vote in as well.
I've done some mathematical equations as well.
No, you haven't.
I have.
If you save those bit of suspense in a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Love that. Bit of maths. Whilst we've been live?
Yeah.
Wow. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Thanks.
Anything else you want to talk about that game? The only thing I really want to draw on is Kyle Cameron at wing back. I'm going to say it here, and this might be unpopular. I thought the crossing was the best we've had this season, bar Aaron Neman in the same game. Kyle Cameron, I've got to say, crossing was better than Adam Chickson's been in recent weeks. Should have had 2-3 assists.
I think that sort of echoes what we've seen from him this season, though. Obviously, he doesn't play wing back, but when he does sort of get to that, the corner of the 18-yard box, when he puts them crosses in, they are normally really accurate, good crosses that find someone. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, maybe try it. I don't know. I do like Chickson though. I think.
Oh yeah.
Get him back.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Well, it's obvious he was out because Williams. There's no way he wanted to see another injury.
Yeah.
But I thought Kyle Cameron, fair play to him, was really, really good at wing back. He had the stamina for it as well. He had the stamina for it, and I think his crossing was brilliant. James said it didn't make us any weaker going forward, but weaker defensively. Yeah, Baldwin did have to do quite a lot. He did. That's the only issue. And this is an interesting point. If we're talking about being weaker defensively, and this, when you think about it, I've not really thought about it this way. Chris says, worrying trend is conceding goals. We conceded 3 against Oldham in 2 games, and they barely had a sniff. They really didn't. They really didn't have a chance, apart from their goal in the first game. And the second game, they had no chances. Slocum's probably made 2 saves in 2 games. It's frustrating because you can't get these games back. It's obvious to say, but you can't. What's hindsight good for? We look back at the end of the season and think, oh, remember that Oldham game where they scored 3 goals from 4 shots? Like those 2 games. So, yeah, really, really frustrating. Something else I like, I want to know what people think in the chat. And I want to know what you, George, what do you think? What do you think about he started to swap wing backs? We saw it in the Oldham game, and we also saw it in the Colville game, swapping over your wing backs. What do you think? I'm a big fan of that. If they can do it, if they can swap over comfortably, do it.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing it years and years ago, but it wasn't our wing backs; it was just our wingers doing it, swapping wings, and it was actually effective. And like you said, it can, be not effective as well. Like you said, if it's effective and it works, I'm more than happy for it. Because that sort of confusion of the opposition is sort of, it helps us to increase chances of creating more chances. So yeah, why not?
I think you don't know what you're going to come up against. Personally.
Yeah, that's it. We've got the element of surprise now, haven't we? And we have for the majority of this season, I think. And I feel like that's something we've really lacked. Like I remember we talked about it under previous managers on fan chats, and I remember saying sort of things about there's not much complexity about the team. You sort of know what's coming, subs being made at certain times in the games and things like that. Whereas under Williams, it's you never know what you're going to get. The starting 11, you can never ever call it because there's always a bit of he's always spruced it up somewhere, hasn't he? And you just can't call it. So
I'm going to say something here. Might be a bit unpopular. Might be unpopular with you, and I don't want to upset you because obviously I need you on the show with me. We were together, we work together. But, and I think actually there'll be one point of this you agree with me. Sometimes, look, and I'm nitpicking. We're top of the league. Are there too many changes? And I'm talking about mainly here, Kedwin Scott. He's come on and he's scored. I honestly believe if he played first half, we would have scored a goal and the game's different. Is there too many changes? Or you can disagree with me. I know it's worked most of the time, but sometimes does it? Or do you agree or disagree with the Scott one?
I agree with the Scott one. I said that to you, didn't I? As soon as the team sheet was released, I said I feel for Scott there. Like, what does he have to do to sort of maintain a spot in the starting 11? Because I really like Scott. I think he's class.
Did you hear what Gateshead fans said when we signed him? A lot of them said he's better than Maka.
Yeah. And for me as well, Langstaff was sort of coming back from injury as well, so it made sense. I mean, who knows what's really going on, but it made sense to me to maybe rest Langstaff and give Scott that extra game, which I think he deserved, to be honest.
I'd be pretty amazed if Langstaff had more than 15 touches in that whole game. I know he scores, which is brilliant, but I think Scott does so much as well. If you want to play Maka, play Kedwin with him. I think I really feel for him. What's he got to do to start a game when Maka's fit? He's catching up with the goals department. Obviously, Maka was injured for a little bit, but I think he's really, really good, and I'm really liking him.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that, but I don't think that there is too many changes. I don't think we can say that there's too many changes because we're top of the league.
Yeah.
And we're top of the league in a very, very difficult time to be top of the National League. And we've, like I've just sort of said, the previous managers, there's not really been much complexity, and players that have been on the fringe have kind of struggled to get their moments. And we've got so much quality, I think, now on the bench. Just thinking of players that we've seen on the bench recently. We've got Castro, we've got Austin, Scott. Players like that. They've all played. They've all started games recently.
Yeah.
And I think previous managers wouldn't have maybe done that, and I think that gives such an incentive to players that they're all sort of pushing each other. They're all pushing each other as far as they can go, and I think that's the difference.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just wanted to know what you thought. The Scott one for me, I agree. Andrew's here, but how can you say to Maka that he's not getting back in when he's scored a goal a game? For me, but then it obviously changes his system. If you want to play two up top, would you want to play two up top going away from home? I would have gone for it. I think Kedwin's, he deserved it. He deserved to start, and I'd really like to see him start at Aldershot. I mean, he came on in the 54th minute, scored in the 57th. So, and he caused problems throughout for the rest of it. So, there we go. I think there were some questions early on. We kind of answered this. Well, it was a few episodes ago about Vincent and whether he'd slot back in. I can't remember who asked this one. Was it Ian? I think no. I don't think Vincent. I'd have him back personally.
He's coming back, though, isn't he? Didn't Luke say that in his presser?
Yeah, but why? Are they not wanting to keep him?
I doubt it. Apparently, he's been their best player.
So why is he coming back? That's the only thing. I'll happily sit. I'll sit here in 2 months' time and think to myself, I look like a right idiot saying I wouldn't have Frank Vincent back. I think he's a great player. Does that say Castro's not staying?
Well,
Chris says he's not convinced by him.
Not convinced by who?
Castro.
Castro. Yeah, inconsistent, but I always say I think it's difficult to have consistency if you're not playing all the time. If you're not starting games all the time, it is hard to have that consistency in it, and sort of play to a high quality. If you subbed on at certain times and things like that. Yeah. But in terms of Vincent, he honestly, when we finally saw him come into the Notts team after what felt like a ridiculous amount of time, you can remember because we signed him and he didn't play for months.
Yeah,
he was amazing. He was literally our best player at that moment in time. He brings energy, overlapping runs, his 1-2s, his through balls, and his ability to break the lines are amazing. I think Vincent's a good player, but we have such good options at the minute. I think he might find it difficult to get back in, unless someone's leaving and it's sort of making way for Vincent to come back in. But only time will tell, that sort of thing.
He reminds me a little bit, energy-wise and play style, as Sam Austin. And have we signed a Vincent upgrade in Sam Austin? Probably, because the only difference for me there is Sam Austin's consistent with it more than Vincent. Like you say, I remember Vincent, Stockport at home, 1-2-1, that counter-attack where he slotted it underneath the goalkeeper. We're thinking, got an absolute worldie of a player here, but it's not quite carried on, that form, has it? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he comes back into the fold or whether it's a bit of a change. But yeah, most people in the chat here saying that they don't see what Vincent necessarily is going to add to us. But like you said, Paul says West Brom sent him to Notts to put him on the market. I can't. Have I missed? Did William say anything about Castro in his presser?
Yeah. He said he's scheduled a meeting with the club.
Okay, I was
in terms of
at the
Castro,
time, so I didn't hear that. So,
and going back to what Paul said there, his contract expires at the end of the season, doesn't it, at West Brom?
Yeah, gut instinct now. Stays, goes. Gut instinct now.
I'd probably say stay because Luke Williams just has so much good to say about him. He says he sort of doesn't feel like a lone player, and all the good things that fans want to hear. So I can't see any reason why he wouldn't stay.
My gut instinct is stay. Yeah, stay. Just about. Right. Loads to discuss there then. Aldershot away. As anyone knows from last year, not easy. Fantastic home fans, noise-wise. I saw there was a bit of a problem, I think, when they played Woking the other day. And we just got embarrassed there. What was it 3-1, 4-1, 3-1, something like that? Dion got a red. Not easy. And then Boreham at home. It's got to be the league's so late. It's got to be 6 points now. Has to be. You worry if we draw at Aldershot. I start to think then already. Like, use this word. This is like the word of the channel at the minute. Wrexham relentless. So I worry. Wrexham have got Coventry on Saturday, haven't they?
That's right, yeah.
So it's another opportunity for us to get points on the board ahead of when they've played, which is really important. If we get that gap back to, I think it would go to 5 points if we got a win. I'm just double checking that now. It will go to 5 points with a win, with them still having the 2 games in hand, but we've got the points already then, if possible. Aldershot sit right down in 19th place, lost 4-1 to Woking and 2-1 to Woking over the Christmas period. They beat Gateshead. They beat Southend 2-0 at home, which is quite big. They only lost 2-0 to Wrexham at Wrexham, which some teams get just battered there. But then they lost like 6-1 to Torquay. So I'm more concerned about the Aldershot game, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Do you see a win there?
Yeah, I do. I think we see a bit of a reaction because it sort of feels like we've sort of let our guard down a little bit, and it's the festive period, isn't it? I mean, maybe players can be held accountable for not playing to that standard on New Year's Day, and I think we'll see a reaction. I really do. I'd like to see a good, honest win. To be honest, where we look by far the better team. We're top of the league. We've been playing some fantastic football this season. Their league position and our league position should suggest that we should obviously be beating teams like Aldershot.
Shane said, very wet down here all week. Hope it's on. Please don't say that. Please don't say that. I've just looked at the forecast now. It's rain today, Friday and Saturday. Please be on. Honestly, we don't want that rearranged. And then Boreham Wood, not the same team this year that they have been, are they really? 13th place, not what we expect from Boreham Wood. 1 win in 4, 5, 6, 1 win in 7 in the league, and that was against Oldham, 2-1. So I'd expect us to win that home game. And they picked up 1 point against Barnet over the festive period. Lost to Eastleigh at Eastleigh. They lost to Woking. They've drawn with York. Lost to Halifax. So I'd really like to see 6 points from this. I'd be way more confident if we get the 3 points against Aldershot. Because if we don't get 3 points against Aldershot and we get 1 or, God forbid, lose, the pressure's on the Boreham Wood game massively.
Yeah.
But quick, get 2 games together could be really interesting. Ian says, don't Aldershot have a certain player that likes to score against us when he was at Woking? I hope you're not. Is it in Effiong?
Yeah.
Is it? In the FEO. I remember that working game. Yeah, let's hope he doesn't. I'm just looking at his record now. He scored 2 in 2. He's coming for it, isn't he? He's going to do it. He's got 8 in 22 for them. He's doing all right. Let's hope Stephen's right. Aldershot and Boreham will feel the backlash from Notts after the Oldham disappointment. 6 points for me. Hopefully. I hope that. But, on the long and short of it is 25 games into the season. Let's be all positive here. 25 games in and 1 defeat. Let's be real there. You'd never. If you'd have said that to me 3-4 months ago, 5 months ago, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah.
1 defeat in 25.
Yeah.
When was that defeat? It was September, I think.
Yeah.
That's unreal. Yeah. Unreal. Should we go for our team then?
Go for it.
I would usually say Tiernan Brooks.
I'm joking.
Tiernan Brooks. I'd have gone for Brad Young. Go on then. Slocum in goal.
Yeah.
Chickson at left wing back.
Yeah.
Cameron left centre back.
Yeah.
Baldwin centre back.
Yeah.
Centre back.
Yeah.
Who playing at right centre back?
Brindley.
Okay. Brindley. Right wing back. It's got to be Aaron the man after his assists.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want Toby back on the bench.
Yes.
And then to rotate, I'll play Toby at home against Boreham Wood. I think.
Okay.
Midfield. I don't think he's going to go Bostock and Palmer.
Vincent.
Rubbish.
I'm joking. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go not Vincent, Palmer and Bostock.
Okay. I'm gonna go Palmer and Bajrami.
Okay.
What about rest of the team then? That leaves 3 spacers. Bear in mind we've just talked about attacking options.
Ruben.
Yeah.
Scott and Langstaff.
Agreed. Yeah, Ruben, Scott and Langstaff. I like Austin, but we need goals. I think both of them play or Scott started. I think we got a goal before half time and the Oldham game was completely different. They didn't know how to deal with him in the home leg of that. Well, I call it a home leg. It's like a double header, isn't it? So, yeah. I would say we've got Maidstone the following Saturday, so 2 Saturdays' time. I think that alters the side that we put out against Boreham Wood. I think if it goes Aldershot, Boreham Wood, and then another league game, I think we see lots of changes. I think there won't be many changes for the Boreham Wood game, and I think most of the changes will come against Maidstone. So if I was to say any changes, I'd say Aaron the man swap for Toby, and possibly swap out Bajrami for Bostock. That's all I'd probably do. What about you?
Keep it the same.
Keep it exact same. I like it.
If we win, keep it the same.
Dale says on the Aldershot board they're saying an easy win for us. I hope so. That does always fill me with a little bit of hope though. If fans well and truly believe their side are terrible, it does fill me with a little bit of hope. And Paul says Wrexham fans on the forum truly believe they are cursed and Notts will pit them. I hope so, but we are also a bit of a cursed club, aren't we? Right, before I go on to the score predictions then, George, let's have the poll result.
Let's have the poll result.
Let's have it.
Right then, the poll this week, as discussed earlier, is the cliche of win your home games, draw your away games enough to get promoted this season?
You've got some maths, haven't you? You've been in some maths.
Been doing some maths, yeah. I mean, it's fairly straightforward maths. But for those that haven't done the maths, that's 92 points.
Not enough.
Not enough. Nowhere near enough.
It's only 34 more points.
It's only 34 more points.
I hope your maths is right. You're getting slated. Oh, dear.
No, it is right.
Is it? Spot
Never
on.
doubt my maths. Never doubt my maths.
So I've voted no anyway.
Yeah, I've voted no as well.
I just don't. I think it's 100 points to get promoted, unless one of us capitulates, which I don't think will happen, or a massive spate of injuries. I know Mendy went off for Wrexham, really, really good wing back. So, yeah, I do think 100 points. Do you?
Yeah.
That's
really
my.
do, yeah.
It's mad to think you could go unbeaten the whole season, win every home game and draw your away games, you still won't go up. Like, I can't see it. 34 points more for this season. I hope we get more than 34 for the rest of the season, but I just can't see it happening.
Book of cliches in the bin.
Well, I can see the 34 points happening, but I can't see win your home, draw your away happening. Before we go on to score predictions, then Paul says, "Where's the dog? Where's the mascot?"
She's actually coming to heat, so she can't come on the sofa at the minute.
Okay, fair enough. There we go. There's an honest answer.
It's an honest answer. I'm not here to lie. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything.
George, was Rishi Sunak your maths teacher there then? That's what Andrew said. Skills like that, you've been doing it since you were 18.
He wasn't my maths teacher. Or yeah, no, he did put through a few extra math lessons on for me, and
did he?
Yeah.
You like the guinea pig that they tested?
Yeah, it's worked though, hasn't it? It's worked. I got it right now.
Because that was without a calculator, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all in my head. Yeah,
smashed it. Score predictions then. Let's go for the Aldershot game first, George. I'll let you go first. That's going to be a horrible game, I think.
3-0 Notts. Macca, Scott 2.
We've got to get a clean sheet. 1-0 Notts. Scott. What about this one? David says 2-1 shots.
Come off here.
I hope not. What about Boreham Wood?
It's at home, so you obviously fancy us at home more than you.
2-0.
2-0.
2-0. Ruben and Macca for that one. Don't say this. Don't say postponed. I'm not having it. I want to know what the actual weather is like at Aldershot.
Said that for.
I know. If it happens, we know who to blame. Ian says 3-1 at Aldershot and 2-1 against Boreham Wood. Even then, like, there'll be great wins. It's great to have the wins. We need a clean sheet somewhere, I think. Notts 3-1 and 3-2. What else have we got in here? We've got Aldershot 1, Notts 2, and Notts 3, Boreham Wood 1. A lot of people are saying it's not going to be any clean sheets there. Cam says 6-0 both games, Chickson hat-trick and Cameron hat-trick first game, and Chickson hat-trick and Langstaff hat-trick second game. Liking that one. We've got a couple of clean sheets here from Ellie. Says 3-0 and then 2-0. Love that one. Andrew says shots 1, Notts 2, Mac and Ruben. James says 2-0 and 2-0 will do me. I'd love that. So I'd definitely take that. I get a couple more in. We've got a 2-0 and a 3-0 to the Pies, and then we've got Notts 3-0, Macca times 2, Scott, and then Notts 4-0. I'll be over the moon with that. And I'll put Andrew's last one in. 2-0 Notts, home to Boreham Wood, Cameron and Scott. I'll be over the moon with anything. Any win. 6 points would do me massively. And we'll see what our mood's like next Thursday, George. It could be a great mood, like it's been most weeks, or it could be a little bit downbeat.
It's always a good mood on the Pavis perspective, isn't it?
It is always. Thursday night's a good mood. Always a good mood. So yeah, appreciate everyone joining us. Loads to discuss, mostly this week about team selection and whether we like people in different positions, and referees. Who doesn't love to chat about a referee? I do. Exactly. I love to learn about referee. Thank you if you've joined us. Please do subscribe to the channel. We're going up pretty well with our subscribers at the minute. Like the video and comment anything else you can think. If you are traveling to Aldershot, please have a safe journey. And let's hope we all meet back here next Thursday with 6 more points on the board.